am Kimberly McNabb.
And I'm Barrett McNabb.
Now, Barrett, you have literally been all over the world. Have you ever run into foreign intelligence officers?
It seems if you run into enough people, foreign intelligence officers will eventually find you. When I was stationed in Korea with as my first duty assignment, I was single second lieutenant, and I started dating a Russian bartender that was in one of the establishments surrounding Camp Casey. And nice girl, and as we got to know each other, she would ask, kind of innocent questions like, so what do you do? And I said I was a second lieutenant in the infantry, and she wanted to know increasingly more interesting questions. It finally culminated when, with a straight face, she asked me, how many inches of rolled homogeneous steel can the Javelin anti-tank missile penetrate? And I was like, what an amazingly specific question from such a small little girl. And so I kind of dodged the answer, and I immediately reported the incident to my chain of command, who informed CID, the Criminal Investigation Division, which is the Army's investigative unit for crimes. And they did not invite me to, I thought I was going to be able to be a little James Bond at the time, but they did not invite me to participate and run the person while they were investigating. So they just said, we got it from here, Lieutenant. And so I said, roger that, and moved on out.
Man, was she a honeypot?
Yeah, it's truly the old honeypot classic. There's lots of ways that foreign intelligence officers try and get you to subvert you and to get you to betray your country. And effectively, what they're asking of you is to commit treason, and it's whether or not you are caught in an uncompromising situation. So if you're married and you fall for a honeypot, they can take pictures of recording and say, look, it's illegal to commit adultery in the Army, and so give us access to a bunch of information, or you're going to go to jail. We'll release this stuff out to your chain of command. So it's a classic trap. Others are include money. That's why it's so important. In our previous episode, we talked about in your background check, having a lot of debt can preclude you from receiving a security clearance. So another instance, I was assigned to UAE, the U.S. Embassy in United Arab Emirates, and to help out the DIA, Defense Intelligence Agency, on collection of information on a specific exhibit called IDEX, and it's hosted every 2 years, I think, in the UAE, and it stands for the International Defense Exhibition and Conference. I wasn't credentialed for covert collection, but I was tasked by the DIA representatives for overt collection. And then over the multi-day event, sometimes I wore a suit and tie, and sometimes I wore my uniform, whether it was dress blues or whether it was Class Bs at the time. But it was just an absolutely awesome experience. And if you could imagine the bizarre scene from Lord of War, where there's tanks and guns and ammunition and fighter jets, all in a hangar, and there's all of these attractive women that are draped all over the tanks, and everybody's kind of drooling over all this military equipment. It was kind of like that. Very much so like that. However, it was definitely clean. It was not in some grimy hangar. It was, it's a clean exhibition center, and everything's well lit. All the girls they're not wearing bikinis. They're wearing little black dresses and things like that. But there's the tanks. There's fighter jets. There all the major small arms manufacturers there: Heckler & Koch, HK, FN, Beretta, Barrett, Smith & Wesson, you name it. It's kind of like the closest thing I can say is that it's like SHOT Show in Las Vegas. And SHOT Show is where all the firearms manufacturers get together and show off all their new small arms, and there's camping equipment, there's knives and things like that, body armor and stuff. But it doesn't compare to IDEX. IDEX is literally, it's as if every single nation on earth And every single company inside those nations went and took the entire 1980s catalog of G.I. Joe action figurines and vehicles and said, let's do our interpretation on all this stuff. It's absolutely crazy. If you're watching the video version of this podcast, where I'm going to have some photographs that are going to be sliding by to show you some of all the unique equipment, but for an army military person, it's definitely Candyland. It's definitely Candyland. But each nation kind of has their own booth set up, and the Chinese booth setup was kind of arrayed in a kind of a snowflake pattern. So it had a central office that was closed off to the public that had doors, and it had these arms that would go out kind of like a snowflake. And so there's different sections of the snowflake set up for the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, missile defense, things like that. And so I was going around, and again I was tasked with overt collection. So I was in my military uniform, and I had a small point and shoot camera, and I was taking pictures of the Chinese equipment. And again, if you're watching the video version of this podcast, some of those photographs are flashing across the screen now. But as I got to some of the missile defense and their integrated systems, there was a Chinese intelligence officer that burst out of the central office. He was behind closed doors, and that was in the middle of that snowflake system for the booth. And this is a very large booth, so there's probably 4 or 5 people could be in that booth. Anyway, he burst out of the booth, and he had a camera with a big telephoto lens, and I swear he took at least 200 photographs of me. I mean, just in rapid succession. He's ducking, he's going side to side, it's almost as if he was trying to get a 3D map of my face, from various angles, so they could stitch it together. I mean, with that telephoto lens, he was looking into my pores. I mean, I don't know if he was trying to get a retinal scan and actually get the imprint of my eye or not, but I mean, he wasn't but 20 feet away with this giant telephoto lens. So anyway, I had my little crappy point and shoot digital camera, and I just picked it up and went click, and he lost his shit. I mean, he was so upset that he had a photograph taken of him that he got really irate, absolutely irate.
How dare you after 200?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was. I mean, I couldn't believe the scene that he was making. Anyway, he came up to me and he was aggressive, and it looked like he was trying to take my camera. And I let him know I was
like, you first.
Yeah. I straight up let him know, hey, look, that's not going to happen. I'm a combat veteran, and I, definitely know that whatever you're going to do, I'm going to do 10 times back. So. There's nothing can be done. But he didn't make a big enough scene. When I went back and I looked at the photograph was all blurry. I didn't get a good shot. So he was upset, and I got a really blurry shot. However, when security came to address his temper tantrum, and it was talking to him, I got a clear shot. And so I took another photograph, and I got the actual photograph. And so the joke was on him because I was retired soon after that, so there's zero use of collecting on me. But I was able to take his photograph and turn it into the Defense Intelligence Agency, the DIA, and that's the military's version of the CIA. So that's the military's alphabet agency that handles foreign assets and things like that, similar to the CIA, but focused mostly on the military. But it was just an amazing opportunity to get that, and so those are. I've had other interactions, but we'll save those for other episodes.
Well, I'm sure everyone's looking forward to hearing those stories. Hi, everyone. Thank you for listening. If you enjoy our show with all the stories we share, we would love your support.
And it's as easy as clicking that subscribe or follow button. This will ensure you never miss an episode and keeps us bringing you these important stories. Your support makes a huge difference. Thank you so much for being part of our podcast family.
Thanks, and keep tuning in.